All right, viewers, with that, we'll move on to a big breaking news coming in connection to the India-China border row. Now, it appears that an arrangement has been agreed upon by India and China on patrolling at the line of actual control. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri has issued a statement, and he says that as a result of the discussions that have been taken place over the last several weeks, an arrangement has been arrived upon on the patrolling along the line of actual control in the India-China border, and this is leading to disengagement and eventually a resolution of the issues that have arisen in these areas in 2020. So MEA making a big announcement on the disengagement between India and China at Ladakh. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri making the announcement. India and China have agreed upon an arrangement and understanding on border patrolling in Ladakh. It's a big breakthrough that's coming in ahead of the BRICS summit in Russia, and just a day before Prime Minister Modi departs for the BRICS summit. Big statement coming in by the Ministry of External Affairs. India and China disengagement talks in Ladakh have proceeded, and both countries have arrived upon an arrangement on patrolling along the line of actual control in Ladakh. Let's go to Abhishek Kapoor, Senior Executive Editor, joining us from the newsroom. Abhishek, a very good afternoon to you. Now, this is a big announcement, really, after how many rounds of dialogues between the two nations. Finally, an agreement has been agreed upon, and just a day ahead of Prime Minister's visit for the BRICS summit in Russia.
Well, what we are getting to understand is this is through an announcement made by Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri while he was briefing media about Prime Minister's upcoming visit to participate in the BRICS Leaders Summit in Kazan, Russia, which begins tomorrow. And what we are understanding is that a breakthrough has been achieved insofar as patrolling arrangements go. Remember, there was a stalemate between the two sides as to for what distance the two can carry out their patrolling. And in fact, there were reports that the Chinese are not letting us go to the patrolling points which we were earlier accessing before the 2020 Galwan clash and the subsequent standoff that's been there since then. But now it seems, at least so far as the patrolling arrangements are concerned, the patrolling points up to which earlier our forces were going, that is going to resume, and that's a big development in the ongoing freeze that was there in India-China relationship because of the standoff, military standoff in Ladakh after the Galwan clash, Kriti. So this seems like a thaw building up. We don't know whether this is going to be temporary, but what is important is that this happens just a day before Prime Minister leaves to participate in the BRICS summit, and there is likelihood of Prime Minister meeting President Xi Jinping on the sidelines, which means that perhaps this is coming with instructions from the top to the respective bureaucracies to thrash out a deal so that the two leaders can meet. Hopefully, once that meeting happens, further talks for fast-tracking disengagement between the troops also would be happening. What we know is that almost 3 divisions plus, which means about 50,000 troops of India, and then similar numbers from the Chinese side, they are in a mirror-to-mirror position and face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball in that border. And this is massive mobilization that was effected on the ground subsequent to the Galwan clash of 2020. And while disengagement happened at least 4 major flashpoints, the forces remained. Let's listen to exactly what Vikram Misri, the Foreign Secretary, has said.
The agreement that has been reached, let me restate what I said earlier. I think what I've said speaks for itself and is fairly clear. There has been, you're aware of the events that took place in 2020 in several areas along the line of actual control. We've been in discussions with Chinese interlocutors, both at a diplomatic level, through the WMCC, as was mentioned earlier as well, and through at the military level as well, through meetings of the military commanders at various levels. These discussions have...
Okay, so it's clear that this is an understanding or an agreement reached insofar as border patrolling arrangements go, and that's because even patrolling was not happening to the traditional patrolling points up to which our soldiers, particularly of the ITBP, would be traveling by foot. And it seems that that understanding has been reached. Remember, just last month we had External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar mentioning that almost 75% of the issues have been sorted insofar as India-China border standoff is concerned. We have, in fact, Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla joining us over the phone. Very good afternoon to you, sir. That's a big announcement. You say, would you say that that India and China have reached border patrolling arrangements or agreement just ahead of the BRICS summit, where possibly Prime Minister and President Xi Jinping might meet?
So it's a very positive development because both sides have been working towards this goal. There have been a very significant number of meetings at the level of military commanders and diplomatic level. And the fact that today we can have an agreement on patrolling, so both disengagement and of course later demobilization of troops along the front line, I think would be a very positive step. You have to remember that China had massed a lot of troops in violation of earlier agreements along the border in western Ladakh. And the sooner we have, these troops leave the area on both sides, I think the better it would be in terms of ensuring peace and tranquility on our border areas with China.
Sir, you think that coming as it does just ahead of the BRICS summit, this would have had a nod coming in from the top and instructions to the respective bureaucracies to thrash out an agreement?
No, I would not necessarily link it, but the fact that this agreement comes before the BRICS summit is itself a positive development, and it provides a more positive dynamics as far as the BRICS discussions are concerned, as far as the, let's say, talks that will take place on the sidelines of BRICS. I don't know if there is a meeting scheduled between the Prime Minister and President of China, but the fact of the matter is that this agreement possibly paves the way for, a sort of either a pull aside or a separate bilateral meeting in the margins of the BRICS summit.
So one more question before I let you know. Nobody understands the nitty-gritties of the dialogue, the conversation, the talks that were happening to thrash out agreement and to ultimately lead to disengagement. We had External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar mentioning about 75% issues having been sorted last month. You think that with whatever development has taken place today and announced by the Foreign Secretary, we are looking forward to a momentum going forward, and possibly complete disengagement could also be happening between the two sides?
Yes, that is the goal. The goal is to reach 100%, let's say, agreement on the outstanding issues that were a result of, Chinese attempts at multiple transitions in 2020. At that time, I was Foreign Secretary, and I know how much, we stood our ground at that time. And government made sure that we did not yield to any pressures to normalize relations unless and until this issue was totally resolved. And I'm happy to say that the agreement that is now being reached probably indicates that both sides have had satisfaction out of the negotiations. As I said, for 20 rounds at the military commander level and very significant number of rounds at the diplomatic level have led to this agreement, besides high-level engagement at the level of the External Affairs Minister and NSA. So I think this is a very positive sign, because the last thing you want is tension on your border, and if we can possibly replicate this model along the line of actual control, in every area that there is, such a tension, then I think the situation will become considerably easier on our land border.
Right. Thank you so much with that perspective. Thank you so much. Harshvardhan Shringla there, former Foreign Secretary of India, speaking to us on the latest development, which is an announcement by the present Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri that an understanding has been reached between India and China. Okay, we have Major Sivach also joining us.
Shruti, your question on the agreement that has been reached, let me restate what I said earlier. I think what I've said speaks for itself and is fairly clear. There has been, you're aware of the events that took place in 2020 in several areas along the line of actual control. We've been in discussions with Chinese interlocutors, both at a diplomatic level, through the WMCC, as was mentioned earlier as well, and through the...
Okay, that was again Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri mentioning how an understanding has been reached between India and China on border patrolling, part of the ongoing standoff between the two sides in Ladakh, which started in 2020 post the Galwan clash. And Major Samarpal Tur joins us live, a defense expert. Major, how do you see this development coming in? You think that this is going to be durable, that this brings in an element of, this can be seen as a confidence building measure between India and China?
Abhishek, if you see the history in terms of China and its strategic movement, political and military, I think that this is a strategic move, that they have something very big developing in towards Taiwan. So they do not want a second front kind of a situation. So they want things to be normal at the borders with India, so that they can totally focus on Southeast Asia and also dominate the areas near Philippines and the Malacca Strait, and also counter Taiwan. So that is the main objective as on date. We are not the priority as of now. We are equivalent to a hornet's nest for China. Number two, looking at the Chinese investment presently with a company called BYD, which has got all EV cars and a luxury segment and a number of dealerships which are coming up, I do not see anything going bad with China at the very moment.
Okay.
But there are a lot of
Major, stay with us. We are continuing this conversation. I'm told on the phone we have strategic affairs expert Professor Madhav Nalapat joining us. Professor Nalapat, good afternoon. And you would have heard this announcement by Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri of India and China reaching an understanding on border patrolling along the line of actual control in Ladakh. Would you see this as a positive development and in the right direction?
Look, the fact of the matter is that is basically concentrating on the Taiwan, and he wants to quieten the other front. So he's gone for this. But of course, the point is that it's not an exception that they intend to keep for very long, until they want to ensure there's no second front open once the Taiwan is dead. I think that is the reason why it's done. And I think from that point of view, this is the situation.
Right, Professor Nalapat, and coming as it does just ahead of the BRICS summit, you believe that this really gives momentum to a possible dialogue that could happen between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in Russia?
Well, it certainly opens the door to that dialogue, because there's an agreement on the border, and it certainly opens the door to dialogue and comes the dialogue. But the point is, China needs to that the is big geopolitics. It makes no sense for it, because making any India other than a friend is so costly for China strategically in the long run that this if the people gain, they will not gain it. Prime Minister Modi is very firm on that. But even if they had done it, it would sort of compensate for the negative feelings and hostility that were generated, not least among the public and also the government.
Okay, last question before I let you go, Professor Nalapat. This agreement comes at a moment when Chinese economy is really struggling. You think that the Chinese might have done a climb down because they believe that they have to buy peace somewhere, given the kind of headwinds they are facing on the economic front, as also, of course, geopolitically, the kind of isolation China has been facing particularly from West?
You're quite right, and may I point out that purchases of Chinese imports, that's very close the stage, by the way. And the Chinese obviously would not want their exports to go down because Xi Jinping is already facing a lot of flack for a flagging for an economy, a declining economy. But yes, I think that's a very important point that we have to keep in mind, that the economy is not doing well and the Indian market is huge and expanding. So they would like that market going and, if possible, expand it even further.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor Nalapat. Hope to see you in the evening when we have a conversation, a detailed conversation on this. Major Samar Paltur continues to be with us. Major, tell us what this means militarily in terms of disengagement. You think that we are already looking at the possibility of the two militaries now taking a call on maybe, if not fully, then partially reduce the number of soldiers there in eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation in Ladakh along the LAC?
See, Abhishek, right now, as the gentleman previously said, it's an economical war. China is bleeding economically, number one. One of the major reasons is because of its deployment along the Ladakh border. Now winters are approaching. And as the winters approach, the temperatures are going to plummet to minus 30, minus 45 degrees. So it's humanly impossible for them to man such locations at a large strength. So definitely that is one of the major reasons why they have asked that the strength of the troops be reduced on both the sides. Number two, they are focusing on Taiwan right now because that is the main objective, the unification of China, the one China policy.
Yeah.
So right now they wouldn't disturb the peace and the tranquil that is being maintained right now. But again, once bitten, twice shy. So they have deceived us before. They have deceived us just before Galwan. There was no major incident that had taken place and suddenly it erupted. So yes, the Indian forces will have to be on alert. We cannot take it easy and
Major, just stay with us. Just hold on to your thoughts. We also have General Keja Singh, I believe, joining us live. Just saying, very good afternoon to you, sir. And you would have heard of this development, India and China reaching an agreement on border patrolling. You have been there serving in those areas. You think, do you see this as a positive development insofar as ultimate disengagement is concerned, or you think we should be slow, watch? Because as Major Tur was saying, once bitten, twice shy, we cannot trust the Chinese completely as yet.
Abhishek, Jai Hind. It's a very signature and a positive development because all progress has to be based on border talk. So to that extent, disengagement taking place in Depsang will be very positive. It may not happen at our terms. We may have something called as no patrolling zones, like we've had at other places, like PP 14, 15 in Pangong So. But it will ensure that Chinese would also have to disengage from areas like Bai Junction and PPs 10, 11, 11 Alpha. That's a huge big stretch of territory. And you know, in Depsang, there is large deployment of tanks on both sides.
Yeah.
So it is good that we are thinking of this is only disengagement at this stage. Then we will have to think of it'll lead to de-escalation and de-induction.
Yeah.
We'll have to be careful, like what Major Tur is saying. I endorse that. We can't be blindly following the Chinese lead. We'll have to remain. We'll have to retain troops in vicinity.
Right, sir.
But it is well known that Chinese are paying a huge big price for maintaining those forces over there. Economically, it's a huge big burden on us. So to that extent, it's a very positive development. I welcome it.
Very true, sir. Thank you so much for your thoughts. In fact, Major General Sanjay Soi also joins us on this broadcast. Very good afternoon to you, sir. And the fact that this announcement is coming at a critical moment when it's possible that the two leaders might meet on the sidelines of BRICS summit, but more importantly, just ahead of winter. So militarily speaking, General Soi, this is a good development for both the sides because if there is thawing of the temperatures that we had seen between India and China, then obviously it's going to reflect in the deployments and particularly those that happen during winters, which adds to the logistical push that is needed. So hopefully with this agreement and understanding, General Soi, according to you, in military terms, this is a positive development.
Absolutely, Abhishek. I would say that any discussion, any talk, any communication on the positive side, we should take it positively. So yes, as both my predecessor, earlier speakers have mentioned, we got to maintain the caution. I'm sure Indian Army has always been alert, and we will remain alert on the border. However, keeping with the huge logistic cost on both the sides and both the largest political populated countries of the world, if we join hands together and we remain peaceful on the borders, I think it will be beneficial for both the countries, both in terms of trade, economy, peace in the area, and yes, of course, whether it is the South China Sea or in our neighborhood. Yes, the China has been trying to encircle us from whether it is Bangladesh or Sri Lanka or Myanmar or Maldives. They are trying their bit. But yes, that is why we got to remain alert militarily, diplomatically, and as far as internal and external threats would always be there. So I fully agree with my earlier speakers that though it is a very good sign, it will be should be taken positively, and we can move ahead from here. Abhishek.
Thank you so much, General Soi and General Singh, and of course Major Samarpal Tur. And a big announcement has been made by India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri while addressing a press conference on the upcoming visit of Prime Minister to Russia to participate in the BRICS summit. And the announcement was about India and China reaching a border patrolling agreement, which is not exactly the disengagement and the de-escalation and de-induction insofar as the presence of our troops eyeball to eyeball with China is concerned. That might still be some time away. But this particular understanding, because remember earlier reports had come of our soldiers, particularly of the ITBP, not able to access some of the border patrolling points that they were able to before 2020 standoff, and similarly on the Chinese side. So with this agreement reached, it provides an immediate thaw and builds a momentum towards a possible meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in Kazan, Russia, which begins tomorrow. With that, I hand it over back to the studios. Okay, I think we are still staying with the story, and with the announcement that was made by Foreign Secretary just a while back, this is being welcomed by all parties. We are looking at the possibility of this building momentum in favor of an ice-breaking dialogue between India and China. General Soi, you're continuing to stay with us. you think that this opens a window where a broader diplomatic engagement can happen between India and China, on which we had seen effectively a full freeze happening post the Galwan clash? In fact, in all the international multilateral format meetings, wherever there was possibility of Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping meeting, it did not happen. Now perhaps it can.
Absolutely, Abhishek. In fact, I am taking it in a very, very positive manner, because this kind of news, this kind of development leads to a number of things. If you see, in 23-24, in India and China, trade was almost 118 billion. And there's a huge scope of both the countries benefiting with peace on the border. And our external affairs minister made it clear, not once but many times, that there cannot be a development or there can't be a peace without peaceful talks without peace on the border. The peace on the border and solution on the borders was the first point which we always insisted. So there is a lot of scope in all the fields, whether it is in the security areas or whether it is in the trade, business, or on the border, and both the countries will definitely benefit. I look at it very positively. Yes, a caution as a military mind would always be there in my mind, that we got to remain alert because at times what happens in the strategy or in the deception, they try to put you at ease and then strike. So we got to be very careful on the development, and we got to continue with our development of infrastructure, which has been going on for last 3-4 years, where we are lagging behind China. So there should not be any stoppages or delay in those development of infrastructure, modernization of Army, Air Force, Navy, and yes, of course, our diplomatic efforts. Abhishek.
Okay, let's take one more voice. Colonel Shailendra Singh joins us. Colonel Shailendra Singh, a welcome development there happening between India and China, perhaps providing an icebreaker ahead of Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping visit at the BRICS summit.
But let me tell you that this has not come free of cost or as a charity from China. They were forced to do this because they have been habitual. They create some situation like this, and then they always find that India lumps it, India leaves it. This is the first time they have found, the world has found, and India has found that no, nothing less than the date and the day the border situation was. Unless it comes back, we are not going back. We will keep you under pressure. I think that is the success in this more. That yes, India is learning, maturing, and understanding that China needs to be handled not only carefully, but sternfully. If you are correct in your stand, nothing, no pressure of anybody can work, including China. The economy and all those things, that economic gains or, pluses and minuses, hell with that. I think India has gone right first time that it has allowed the army to keep the pressure on. In fact, what General Soy was saying, I can only say as a journal, he may be able to handle the situation at an international level. But let me tell you, at my level of a Paltan, the pressure will never be less. We will still be vigilant. We will still dominate that area. We will still put China under so much of pressure that either you stay on the border in your non-air conditioned compartment, which he cannot because their troops are not used to of that, or go back to where you were, and then we can start afresh with whatever talks you want.
Right, Colonel Shailendra Singh, thank you so much. With this perspective, as also General